Elaine, it looks
like we've
like
got
we've got
the four
four
council
council
members
members
we
we
expect,
expect,
two
two
blocks,
blocks,
and
and
Denise, and of course,
of course
yourself.
yourself.
I
I don't know if
we're
we're
expecting
expecting
Fred
Fred
Manning,
Manning,
maybe
maybe
speak for
speak
him.
for him.
I'll promote Fred just in case he needs to speak.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Now, Nancy.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, Nancy.
Okay.
Okay, just for that.
Okay,
Okay,
Elena,
this
this is
is
Nancy.
Nancy.
She
She
thinks
thinks
she needs to
needs to be promoted to a
plus.
plus.
Stand by, Nancy. So
You got your hand raised there.
So can't promote her to panelist. Can you unmute herself? If you can hear me.
Nancy,
can you mute yourself?
You have a way
You have a way to do it?
She's
She's checking.
Looks like you're unmuted now. Can you say something, Nancy?
Nancy,
Nancy, can you say something? Looks like you're unmuted now.
No,
Nancy?
Hello? 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 I've lost connection to her. Nancy? Let's see if she calls in. Hi, Nancy. I lost you there. I can hear you, yeah. Okay, let me see about that. Okay, Elena, she's having trouble with the Zoom connection on her phone. I might be able to put her on speaker and we'd hear her that way.
Okay, let's see if we can hear her.
Okay. Nancy, let me call you so I can get you on speaker. Having some trouble. Just a minute, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, I can hear you there. I got you on speaker. That's great. Let's see if the rest can hear. Can you just say something?
I'm here in Florida having a wonderful time, and I hope this is a really quick meeting.
I understand. It looks like everybody could hear you. Okay, so I think that'll work. Thank you. Well, all right, it's a little past 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll call this meeting to order. It's a special meeting in Manchester Springs City Council for January the 28th, 2025. We do need to have the agenda approved. I think, Council, you've all seen that we just have the one agenda item. I'd seek a motion to approve.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye. Did
you
want to call roll call?
Oh, sorry, I better do roll call. Yeah, I'm sorry. And before I call roll call, well, Elaine, I guess I should let you do the roll call, but Councilors Wolf, Shada, and Weatherholt have excused absences. Since we hadn't planned to meet tonight, they made other plans.
Okay. So council members Judith Chandler,
Present.
Nancy Fortune,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Natalie Johnson,
Present.
and Mayor John Graham.
Present. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can go ahead and proceed then. We just have the one item, and of course, we're doing this meeting specifically for it. That is a request from Paragon, the owners, developers of 123 Manitou Avenue, for a letter of support. They want to apply for low-income housing. Okay. I think you've all had a chance to kind of look things over. This is something we probably would prefer to have done a little more leisurely, but they are under a Monday deadline. So I guess I would ask one of the blocks if you'd like to make some just brief remarks. That would be good. Either one, Rich or John.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me okay. Test.
Yes.
Oh, okay, super. For some reason, I can't see myself, but for the record, I've just introduced myself. My name is Rich Block. My work address is 8700 North Street, Suite 310, Fishers, Indiana. Also on the phone with us is my son, John. He resides in Lakewood and serves as the development manager. So hopefully you can see him as well. I apologize, I can't see him. And as the mayor indicated, I'll first just pass along a thank you. This has come together rather quickly for us, and I really sincerely appreciate you guys making time on short notice to at least offer us the opportunity to talk you through the request. As the mayor has said, and I don't know what background information you may have received, but I think you know, we purchased the La Fawn Motel a little over 2 years ago. That address was 123 Manitou Avenue. We did actually, speak to you guys in the public comment portion of the meeting a few weeks back. We had gone through a variance hearing. At that time, we were actually trying to pursue a market rate, attainable housing, keeping the rents as affordable as we can. And at that time, we were seeking a variance increase to allow for more units on the site. Literally right after that hearing was denied 4-3, I think you all know, we got introduced to a development group, TWG. They are a tax credit, LIHTC developer, really focusing on that, active throughout the state of Colorado. Sorry, I don't. But they're actually quite excited to get involved with Manitou. I think there are a variety of reasons because of some of the history, or let's say lack thereof, of other affordable housing developments that have occurred, but also just generally apartments that have not been developed over time. We believe very strongly in the market as well, and I think when they and these guys are experts at this application, and there are a number of consultants that they have involved, from design and people that help them with the application. It's a pretty involved application. I honestly can't profess to tell you that much about it, but I'm going to introduce my son here in a second, and I'll let him go into a little detail with you. I do want to maybe say a few things. One is, of course, there's no guarantee we will be awarded the credits, but we're very hopeful and believe that it's going to be a strong application. There is it's still if you will, an ideal size of project that would be in excess of 50 units. But what we have done is explain to them what zoning is in place and what is allowed for, and that is 43 units. So really what's happened is they have shifted what I'll call kind of an ideal unit mix, and actually added more 3 bedrooms that decrease the unit count and meet the density requirements there. There still is a gap that will exist with the application, but they have identified a number of potential opportunities that they're hopeful to have come together. I would like to have, and John Michael, I call him John Michael, the way he was raised. But in any event, if you can share with them, I'd like to share with you the elevations. We had put together elevations when we were pursuing a more market rate project, but I thought you might want to see what their architects have come up with. There are similarities, and I don't know, John, if you can share that with the group, the team that's involved. I thought that might be helpful to you. As he's trying to pull that up, there are basically two buildings that will exist and be developed. One, are you able to see that? I apologize. I'm not seeing him or what he may be showing.
No, we
Is that,
can't see it. No.
I think I need to be granted permission to share.
do you want, I don't know how that gets done. I'm technology challenged myself. I apologize.
I just granted you ability to co-host, John. You see an option to share your screen?
John Block, can you?
Yeah. Do you see my other Zoom link? I think you allowed my phone to share. If you could do the computer, that'd be great. Oh, thank you.
John Shada? He is John Block. I saw that.
John Shada, you're present, I guess?
I am, sir.
Oh,
Okay,
You
all
at
right.
6:08.
are you getting it, Joe Mike?
Yep. Sorry. Let me share the proper screen here. Sorry.
Mayor, you may want to mention for the record, I believe Mr. Shada joined about 6:11.
Yeah, Elena, did you say 6:08 or
Yeah, it's 6:08.
I had 6:08,
So
yeah.
sure. Okay. She noticed before I did. Thank you.
Oh, good. Perfect. So what you're looking at, and I'll let John also elaborate, but what you're looking at is from Manitou Avenue into the site. Those two buildings will be on the western edge and eastern edge with parking between the two buildings. There is sensitivity to massing that would be along Manitou Avenue. We expressed this actually when we even applied for the variance, but knowing that the city had sensitivity to not having it be a canyon-like corridor. So I think they're very attractive buildings, and that would be the point that I would make to the city is that these buildings from the outside are going to be class and really I think an attractive building for the city. What I would like to do is maybe ask my son, if you don't mind, John, just speak to the timing of what has to be done with Chaffa and the need for the letter from the city.
Yep. Yeah. Happy to jump in here. Yeah. As Mr. Mayor has already stated that the application date is due on this upcoming Monday, the 3rd, February 3rd. So we're just trying to wrap up all the final details and make sure we have everything we need for the application. But again, as my dad mentioned, it is a fully discretionary application, meaning nothing's guaranteed. But it's a point-based system, and I won't go through all the details. There's probably 20 different possibilities for points. Some of those attributes are required, but basically you have to hit a minimum. And the big two items that are required, one of which is tying the rents to the area median income, which is also known as AMI. And in our case, we're having our rents tied to 30% to 60% of area median income. The other big requirement, which is why we're in front of you tonight, is we do need city support in the deal. Basically, the state wants to know that locally people want this project and it's needed in the community. We don't need to hammer through all the specifics at this time, but the big thing is that you guys hopefully very much support the project. The state is granting a sizable amount of tax credits, and they just want to make sure that the city is willing to help, get this built as quickly as possible. So again, the CHAF application is fully discretionary, and again, it's nothing's guaranteed. So the stronger that the letter is written in support of the project, the more likely it will be funded. So yeah, happy to answer any questions. Dad, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to go through before we turn it to City Council.
I think that was basically it. No, I think we should open it up to any questions they may have.
Okay, great, thank you. Council, we also have our city, our planning director, Fred, available. He is, I think he's seen the same information that we have. It might be appropriate to solicit his input. So I guess, Fred, if you have any comments you'd like to make, this would be a good time. And then I think we're going to open up to questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Very good. Hold on just a second. Yes, thank you. For the record, Fred Rollenhagen, Planning Director. I did take a look at the letter and just wanted to make sure, put on the record that there is no application submitted for this particular property at this time. Planning staff has not reviewed any application related to this LIHTC proposal. And just wanted to say that the letter, as I reviewed it, is a letter generally for support. It's for general support of a development such as this on the property. It's not specific, and so obviously, in the future, before development is actually constructed on site, they would have to come to the city and get the appropriate permits and approvals for what they're proposing. That's when we would evaluate the specifics of the proposal and make sure that it complies with the municipal code. So if the council is concerned about that, or if you want to communicate that in the letter, you could make a statement saying that this development would need to get the appropriate permits and approvals for development before development occurs.
Right.
And if I may just jump in to speak to that, I think we certainly know that full plans will have to be developed and submitted to the city and state for permits. I mean, this is the first step, the application process. I don't know if you mentioned, John, the timing after the filing on Monday. Wasn't it April? Do you recall the exact date?
Yeah, I think we should hear back kind of April to early May. And then you have about 7 months to kind of finalize all the financial details, right? As you can imagine, there's also a lender involved, and it just takes time to kind of get all that process finalized. Most of the time, the deal is fully buttoned up by the end of the year, so December of 2025, and they usually kick off construction in the spring of the following year, so spring of 26.
Okay.
So the point being that all those plans would be developed over the summer and submitted to the city through that process.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Fred, did you have more to say? Fred, I don't know if you had more that you wanted to say. Looks like you're muted. Yeah.
Yep, there I am. Let's see. No, I don't believe so. I think that's everything. Just like I said, that would be just an advisement on maybe something to add to the letter.
Okay. All righty. Very good. Well, council, I think it's a good time for questions. Do you have any? Yeah, Judith, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Block. You mentioned that there was criteria in the application that was required. Could you give us some of the bullet points of what is required in this application that the city council might be interested in knowing? For example, is there a specific sunset for how long this project has to remain affordable housing? Those kinds of things I think would be helpful to us. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, happy to chime in there. And if you'd like, I can even share my screen. Give me 1 second. Again, and I can show you some of the requirements. Let me know when you guys can see. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Except
So
for Counselor Fortune.
sorry, what was that, Mayor Graham?
I'm sorry. Yes, everyone except Counselor Fortune. She's on phone, so
Okay.
she's
Okay.
compromised in that sense.
Maybe just
Got
hit the highlights of that for them.
Yeah. So basically, there's a whole host of various criteria that we can hit. You get more credit for additional 30% units relative to 60% units, meaning the incomes are lower, the project, and there's formulas for all of that. But to answer your question directly, the tax credits are typically over 10 years, but there is an initial 15-year commitment. Oftentimes, the full commitment to low-income housing extends out to 30 to 40 years. So yeah, there's some intricacies there that candidly I defer to the TWG folks. But and if you'd like, we're happy to follow up with that. But generally speaking, yeah, it's upwards of 30 years of committed to low-income housing, where the incomes and the rents are tied to area median income. So I hope that answered your question.
Is that okay? Good. Thank you. But thank you. I think that was helpful, John. Because I have concerns about in your draft letter, the fourth paragraph there starts off, I'm writing to inform you that City Council supports the project. It's that the second sentence in particular caused me a little concern. Potential measures include supporting a sales and use tax exemption, as well as waiving local tap fees, improvement fees, and permit costs. I think it's a little premature to entertain those ideas. I mean, frankly, I think that, well, not the city proper, but the URA has provided substantial financial support for this property.
Mayor, if I may just interject there, we have mentioned that to the TWG folks. I understand that there is a distinction that's made, even though the URA, I guess, is in some way related to the city. I don't know exactly the governance of all that, but what we understand is that there is a requirement that the city have a direct financial contribution to the project, and that can take the form of, literally like waiving permit fees or something nominal, but that's our understanding, and it does have to be from the city. Of course, every cost is important to try and keep these as affordable as possible, but we understand it has to be from the city. That's why I think that provision is in the letter.
Yeah, if I may just add there, some cities, because they really want the tax credits very badly, they'll offer various discounts on permitting fees. Preliminarily, we agree with you, Mr. Mayor, that it's a little early to talk about specifics there, but some municipalities do go ahead and say, hey, we're gonna waive all the permit fees or half the permit fees, for instance. Honestly, if we really got down to it, we could agree on even something super nominal. But yeah, obviously, the stronger, the better. And at this stage, we can simply say it's fully contingent upon future discussions, and we can even be fully transparent with you around what exactly we think we need at that stage.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I guess Judith, please.
Yes, thank you. Since you have the application with you, could you pull that up where that specific requirement is stated? I'd like to read it.
Yes, give me one moment.
Thank you.
Alrighty, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe it's called, hold on, let me Control F this real quickly. I think it's called contribution. Yeah, there you go. Local government contribution. And And there's a whole another PDF, which I don't have in front of me, but which defines this a little bit more, but basically,
Just
applicant
go
must
ahead and
provide-
read that for everybody because there are some that aren't able to see that, John Michael.
Yeah, as required by Colorado Act, the applicant must provide evidence that local government will provide some monetary, in-kind, or other contribution benefiting the proposed project. Evidence may include a letter of support or intent describing the nature of such contribution from local government. And so we chatted with the consultants who are advising TWG. They do many different light tech projects across the state, and we came to understand that it's not necessarily we don't need to know the exact amount at this stage. We just need to say, hey, the city would be willing to entertain some sort of abatement on permit fees, et cetera.
Thank you.
Yeah. And,
Mr. Mayor?
we don't know what that is. Just a minute. Let's see. I don't know who was first, Mr. Shada or Denise.
I don't care which. Denise, go ahead.
Denise, you go ahead and then we'll go to John. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, I don't think you can waive any fees without a code change. We went through this a couple of years ago, so I would have to look at that, but I think you'd have to go through a code change even for council to do a waive of any tap fees.
Yeah, I believe you're correct. Yes. Thank you. Mr. Shada?
Yes, I guess I'd like to go on record that, you know, the $2.1 million that the city budgeted and gave the URA, okay? So even though that money sort of kind of went through the URA's bank account, I think that's an important thing. Our community has a $2.1 million investment in a 2-acre property. And I just want to go on the record as saying that our community has a substantial investment in the success of this property. Thank you.
I think that's a good point. And if I remember correctly, it was 2.15 million that the URA contributed, and I think the Paragon contribution was like 1.1 million, at least for the initial transaction. Either of the blocks, does that sound correct?
I think it was 2.1 there. I don't think it was 2.15, but you're right. I mean, the order of magnitude is in that level.
Okay.
You know, and I would just comment, and we are not at all, and I hope you don't take this wrong, but we have been so appreciative and more appreciative of the URA supporting it. We were not dealing with the city at that time. I think, Mayor, you spoke at the time that URA was making that decision to invest, but you know, actually, I think just going back to the history of it, maybe the benefit of what's occurred is that property, as I think you knew, you know, the operating license had been revoked. It was in serious disrepair. I know when we demolished it, well, there was abatement, asbestos abatement, pretty extensive. That was part of that, but unfortunately, we encountered drug labs, numerous other things that existed, and it was a real problem as I understood it from the city. And it was really through some of the discussion that when we talked to the URA, that led to that decision to support. And again, we appreciate it. And Mr. Shada, I absolutely appreciate your point.
Well,
I
I
just
guess-
go ahead.
Can I
Sorry.
make a comment?
John, you
I
have the
just
floor.
I think that needs to be outlined in the application in terms of the amount of investment that the council, okay, budgeted that amount of money to the URA. And so I understand that then suddenly it becomes their money and their decision at that point. I'm perfectly aware of that. But I think that part of the application, I think when the state looks at these things, they're looking for the amount of money the community has invested in this project. And I think that does, you know, come into their consideration in terms of what kind of investment has a local community made in this kind of a project. And I think that I would like to see that intentionally and discreetly described, that was sales tax money of the city of Manitou Springs, okay, that has essentially passed through the URA. I don't care how you sort of kind of explain that, but the origin of those funds, okay, came from this council. Thank you.
I may just add one thing. So we had a introductory interview with Chaffa that included both the Paragon team and TWG, and this topic did come up. And so they're aware of the URA's involvement in the project. I believe as part of the application, there will be a narrative that describes what happened. But we did tell them a little bit about the history there and the URA's involvement.
Thank you. Well, I guess I think it would be reasonable to include in the letter a sentence calling attention to the city's participation through the URA and our the financial support for making this project happen. I don't think $2.1 million is anything to sneeze at, and it should be called to Chaffa's attention while we're at it. I guess I would also, yeah, I understand that the intent here is to get this into the grant cycle and everyone crosses our fingers, and I realize it's a bit of a long shot probably, but I do think it would be worth adding a sentence or two indicating that while the city supports this, we expect that the project would conform with the city's municipal code, and that you would apply for all the appropriate permits and approvals, and that we have not seen a specific project presented for actual discussion. I mean, it's conceptual. I think those would be reasonable things to add to the letter.
Seems very reasonable, Mayor.
Okay, I guess council, I guess that would be my point, that we add that in. I think Mr. Shade's comment about a reference to the ORA would be appropriate. How do the rest of you feel?
I would agree with you, Mr. Mayor. So you're proposing that you put it in the letter that we're considering tonight?
Right, it would be the draft of the letter. Now that draft was prepared by the Paragon folks, and or with the help of their associates, possibly. But so it does. I think it makes points to state the things that the state wants to know. Certainly, I think we'd mention the points that there is community support through the URA to the tune of $2.1 million. That we haven't actually looked at a specific project, and we do expect that whatever takes place would conform with our existing the municipal code, and they go through all the normal planning process hoops. I would probably be inclined not to address sales and use tax exemption and that sort of thing at this point. So I would be inclined to delete that. But I'd be happy to hear what the rest of council has to say on that. Judith?
Thank you, Mayor. This has been a really great discussion. I highly support the city supporting the grant application process. I'm a little concerned about the wording about the city supporting the project, because we don't have a project in front of us and it hasn't gone through the city's vetting process. So what I would like to see is the city support the grant application for the proposed project, and that we include the 2.1 million. And also I think that we could put in some strong language of the need that we have in the city for affordable housing. I think we can make a very strong statement about that. And then beyond that, I think that the city has shown a tremendous financial commitment to this project, and I don't support any suggestions about any future financial support, especially since it would require code changes and perhaps ordinance changes. So at this point, I don't feel comfortable for putting that languages, but I would like to see it say that the city strongly supports the application of the grant for the proposed project.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Natalie, what are your thoughts?
I'm comfortable with all the suggested changes that have been made. I don't have a problem with any of the suggestions. And I do really want to make sure that this letter moves forward so that they're able to, again, submit their application for this grant.
All right, good. Thank you. Nancy, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, what are your thoughts, Nancy?
Yeah, I agree with what Judith said, except that I would also be fine with saying that the city is willing to entertain proposals for in-kind or monetary incentives as well, because not all of them, in fact, do require code changes. Not that I support any of them at this point in time, but I would be willing to entertain proposals.
Okay. Right. Judith, could you respond to that, please?
Well, I agree with Counselor Johnson, or I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, excuse me, that it's really important to support this letter and show that tonight that we support you. Again, I think, I guess I fall into the camp of we've already via our sales tax provided a tremendous incentive for the project, and at this point I just think it's a little premature for the city to say that we're considering it. But if that's something the rest of the council supports, I that's not a hill I need to die on. That would just be my preference. I think that we need to be very careful because we haven't seen the project yet, and it hasn't gone through the planning department and the planning commission. So I think it needs to go through all those steps. But I don't want the letter to be held up for that one thing. So I could certainly accept some language about that. Nothing specific about water taps and things that are affecting enterprise funds or ordinance. We have an ordinance regarding water taps. So I think that we have to be very careful if we're going to put that in, that we be very careful about the language that we use.
Well, and as
if I could, I have no problem with that, to not put the specifics there. However, I would just say that we're willing to entertain it, and entertain additional incentives. God, I'm in the middle of something. I can't think now. Because I know, because I think we want to make the application as strong as we possibly can.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Good, and of course, to Denise's point earlier, we've in our code we can't write off taps and so forth, so we've got that.
Right, and I'm not suggesting we put that specific language in there.
Okay, no, I understand. I think that's a good point. Okay, very good.
Mr. Mayor?
Did you? Okay, Mr. Shada, you have the floor.
Yes. In the second paragraph, I guess I would like to also add the following sentence. Our code allows a total of 50 dwelling units on this property. And with the 43 low-income units with 43 low-income units, this would make this development accessible to 86% of the total number of apartments that are allowed. And so I guess that maybe kind of harkens the question of the blocks, which is you've showed us a very nice handsome looking picture of some 3-story or apartment units. Do you know how many total dwelling units that you would be putting on this property?
Yes, sir. 43. That's what existing code allows for.
Oh, okay. So as it turns out, then, if you're asking for 43, then 100% of the units, right, would be low income.
That's right. We also received a confirmation letter, zoning confirmation letter from the planning department, from Fred and Chelsea, confirming that it's 43 units, 20 units per acre, just under 2.2 acres.
Okay. So I guess the other thing that I'd like council to consider, which is that bolded paragraph, I'm suggesting that be written, I believe, as Judith sent out a email this afternoon, and I'll just read it into the record since maybe not everybody heard this. I'm writing to inform you that the city supports the project and is open to discussing ways to provide financial support. Through the city budget appropriation process, the city has already $2.1 million invested in the success of this project through our funding of the URA. additional support is contingent upon City Council review and approval of CHAFA's award of 9% low-income housing tax credits. So I guess I just would like to get that front and center in there, just the substantial investment of our small community that we have already invested essentially in this property.
Okay, right, John. And well, and
May I comment on that?
Please
Just
do.
because I
Go
want to
ahead.
make sure I heard you right, Counselor Shada. And this just segues into a point I made earlier. I would feel more comfortable again saying that the city strongly supports the grant application for the proposed project, which is different than saying that we support the project, because we can't support the project yet because we haven't seen the project. So I don't want to hamstring us, but I think that language is important to put in there. And we can also add some language in that paragraph if it strengthens it, that we have a serious need for low-income housing. And it is one of the reasons that the URA was formed in the first place, was to support projects exactly like this. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, now we're kind of in a situation where we have several people trying to write one letter, and it's a little challenging. Let's just see if in general, and it seems to me like we're sort of gravitating towards, we got some consensus on the points we want to make, that we do want to call attention to the support that's been given to the project already through the URA. In other words, $2.1 million. I think another point is that we aren't looking at a discrete project yet, that this is conceptual, and we want to support the idea. That of course it would go through the normal, all this would go through the normal planning procedure, and it would have to conform to our land use development code. And let's see, is there anything I missed on that? Is that, if those three things were added, I'm sorry, Judith, you have something?
No, actually, what I was going to say is I support you hitting all the points. And would it be amenable to, you've pretty much written the paragraph, if you were to put that in draft form and just send it to us, and we could give you our stamp of approval for it? Would you be, am I putting you on the spot?
I could do that right now. If Nancy would be, I could text it to her.
Great, fantastic, thank you.
You want to stand by? Okay. Let's see. I guess before I do that, I should ask comments from the blocks. Would that be a deal breaker, or, I mean?
I don't think so. I mean, we're dealing a little bit unknown territory ourselves, Mr. Mayor, but I think most importantly is, and I think Councilor Judith, you mentioned this, is really to express, and I hope that CHAFA realizes this, the strong support that the community has for the project. I imagine that they will reach out to the community, and hopefully you can express the same. But ultimately, we want you to express what you can to support the project, but be comfortable with what that ultimate language is.
Okay. Well, if you'll stand by just a minute here, let me get something here that I can email to council. Okay, while I'm doing this, okay, we're going to head on the run. The first sentence says, I'm writing to inform you the city supports the project and is open to discussing ways to provide financial support. I wasn't probably going to include that, but I can put it in what's council's druthers. I don't, again, it's not a hill I'm going to worth dying. It's not even a molehill to me. So I can put it in.
I would suggest saying the city has provided substantial support, and then address the 2.1 million.
Okay.
In some way.
Okay. All right. Stand by here. And then I'll read this paragraph to you, and then I'll send it out. Okay, I'm gonna read this to y'all, and then I'll send it out. Nancy, I guess I'll have to text it to you. This would be my take on it here. The city is supportive. Okay, so this would replace that fourth paragraph that's bold-faced in the graph that you have there. The city is supportive of efforts to provide affordable housing. Through the Manitou Springs Urban Renewal Authority, funding of $2.1 million has been provided to Paragon Realty to develop this project. While no specific project has been presented for actual discussion, we believe the city would support such a project and supports the concept. It would need to conform with the city's municipal code and apply for the appropriate permits and approvals. All such support is contingent upon city council review and approval, as well as CHAFA's award of 9% low-income housing tax credits. Okay, so
Mr. Mayor, I think that's a little long-winded, but I think that covers the basis.
well, I'm afraid this is a hard time in my life to reform from being long-winded, Sean. But
I know.
Let's
I'm
see,
just commending you for pulling it off on the
Yeah.
fly.
okay.
I had written a little shorter statement, but yours is much more eloquent.
Well, thank you, and bless your heart, if long-winded. Okay, I see nods from Councilor Johnson, Chandler.
I support it. I think it's great.
Nancy, were you able to hear that okay?
Yeah,
Okay, I can go ahead and send it to you, Nancy. Or,
no, that's all right. I gotta go. I mean,
Okay.
I walked out of dinner to come in on this.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, we have Councilman Shade here now, so we still have a quorum, so we do appreciate it. Thank you, Nancy. Okay,
Mr. Mayor?
Are we gonna vote soon, or is it gonna be continued? Is this a working session or a regular
no, this is a
session?
regular session. We need to get this approved so they can get their letter to Chafa on Monday.
I will just tell you that I think it's a little, I personally think it's a bit weak. I would use more, we strongly support affordable housing in this community, and things like that. I just think it's a wishy-washy, mealy-mouthed, response. No offense.
No, that's okay. Well, what if the first sentence were the city strongly supports affordable housing?
That helps, yeah.
Okay. I can change that. So the city,
Mr.
You know,
Mayor?
you might want to say the city supports affordable housing and has a really pretty dire, I don't want to use the word dire, extreme need for it. I mean,
okay.
maybe I can get some help, but this, I think that would really help the application too, is we have a pretty desperate need
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judith.
Okay. How about the city strongly supports affordable housing, comma, a critical problem in our community? Is
Yeah,
that-
critical need more
okay,
than
critical
problem.
need, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
The other thing that I guess I would like to have a sentence struck from the first paragraph, the second sentence where it says housing values in Manitou Springs are higher than other parts of the region, and many people who work in Manitou Springs cannot afford to live here. I guess the reason why I'm a little stressed about that is we're talking about rental units here. And when I went and looked at HUD's numbers, okay, for our community in our adjacent zip codes, and in fact, all the zip codes in the Pikes Peak area, actually the rents for efficiency, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom apartments in Manitou Springs are some of the lowest, okay? Now, I totally agree that it would be nice for us to increase the housing supply and particularly target these low-income people. But I guess I just have this problem with this word housing values, because that's sort of, I don't know, that implies to me that we're talking about people purchasing things. And what we're trying to do here is address this housing portion of the market in which people are only in a position to rent something. They're not in a position to buy something. And I couldn't find right off the bat, some HUD numbers about how expensive it is to purchase things in Manitou Springs, because I actually think that's probably very, very nuanced depending upon the neighborhood that you're interested in. And does the building and the home have a view of Garden of the Gods or Pikes Peak, etc.? So I'm just for honesty, basically, I just am a little pained about that second sentence about talking about housing values, because in reality, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to increase the number of low income units that are available. Okay. We're not trying to address housing values per se. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so actually, that kind of the way that sentence leads in there is it starts off actually the sentence ahead of it is essential to go with the sentence that you were calling for deleted. So it says our 2017 comprehensive plan states affordable workforce housing, and that's all that sentence follows on. So we'd have to strike those two. I see your point. I don't have a whole lot of heartburn either way, so I could be okay striking it or leaving it, but I see your point there, John. Councillor Chandler, how do you feel about that sentence?
Well, I'm an ex-editor, so I didn't like how this started, because if you want to capture somebody's attention and you want their grant money, it should start. Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a severe shortage of affordable housing. That would get my attention. And then you can put a sentence in there, perhaps along the lines of, currently we do have a problem that our city staff, our employers, our teachers, find it difficult to find housing and work in the town. So when usually you have like 3 minutes to catch somebody's attention, you want to make that first paragraph pop, and this doesn't do it. But I would strike that housing values. I'm okay with the last sentence. A more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed, with particular focus on workforce, entry level, and family and senior housing. I think that's strong. So maybe just those two sentences. Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a severe lack of affordable housing. A more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed, with a particular focus on workforce. So that I would just make that two sentences.
Okay, right.
But I would like maybe the blocks to see how they feel about that.
We'll ask also. Natalie, let me ask you.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't even know if that they're going to read, that they're going to see the seal of the city of Manitou Springs on the top and read 4 sentences of it and move on. So I'm comfortable with tweaking it, continuing to make it the best letter we can, but I'm not overly concerned.
Okay, all right. Nancy, are you there still, or Nancy? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. It's fine.
Okay, you find you'd be okay with it?
I think 7 people can't edit a 4-paragraph memo.
No, I would tend to agree, but we're trying to do our best here, and I think council's intent is to be supportive of this grant application, so we want to get this knocked out. Okay, well,
Mr. Mayor?
Well, hang on just a second, John, here. So we were dealing with the 4th paragraph. Are we, okay, that's the paragraph that I'd read. Admittedly, Nancy felt it was kind of wishy-washy. We made it just a little bit stronger, not a whole hell of a lot. We're also dancing around some issues that we don't know about and we kind of really don't want to commit to. But let's see if we can get the 4th paragraph done. Are we okay? Judith, you're nodding. Nancy, are you okay with 4th paragraph? That was when okay. Natalie, you good with it? Okay, we'll call the 4th paragraph done. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, just to chime in here, really
Yeah,
nitpicky. I think you said Paragon Realty. For purposes of the application, we're actually using Paragon Development instead of
Okay.
Paragon Realty. So if you could just strike Realty or put Paragon Development, either of those would work.
Okay, so that's Paragon Development. No, thank you. That's a good point. We want to be consistent.
Thank
You're
you.
correct.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Okay, so, and then we have we've gone to the first paragraph there, and Judith, for my benefit, what was the lead you had there? Manitou Springs is a historic.
Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a severe lack of affordable housing. And then I would just add the last sentence started with a more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed. Those two sentences are fine.
Okay, all right. So that's
If it's okay with everyone else. I just want it to be, I just wanted to grab somebody's attention, like Mayor Pro Tem Johnson said, you know, you have a minute to capture their attention. So I'd really like to see us do that.
okay. Great. Natalie, are you okay with that? Okay,
Absolutely.
good. Nancy, how about you?
Sure.
You're okay? All right. So I think we've gotten some edits in there. John, did you have something to say?
Yes, I guess I just want low income added before the word workforce, entry level, and family and senior housing. Because what does excite me about this application that it does target, okay, low income, all right. And I think that's an important thing. To me, workforce housing is not a federal standard word, okay? It's kind of a gobbledygook word, okay, in which a lot of people have a lot of different interpretation in terms of what that means. And I take this as a very strong, you know, grant request with CHFA for some low income money. And so that's just my additional wording that I would prefer to have added in that last sentence
John, were
in
you
the first
suggesting low
paragraph.
income instead of the word affordable?
Yeah. John, remember, Nancy doesn't have anything in front of her to look at. So could you do that sentence again? Okay. A more diverse.
So the sentence would be a more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed with a particular focus on the low income workforce, entry level, and family. Well, entry level, I think maybe we probably ought to get all these ands out of here and just say entry level, comma, family and senior housing. And then I'm not certain what the note, what page 5 is. I guess that is a notation in our comprehensive plan, correct?
That's what I interpreted it to be, but I didn't verify it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think
so.
Since we're striking,
So I guess maybe since we're wordsmithing this in this way, you know, that we talk. I guess we can't put that all in quotes the way we've watered this down. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So I think we ought to say that our comprehensive plan, you know, supports affordable workforce housing with all this quotation if we're going to doctor this all up. It's just an editorial comment.
Okay, well, let's see here. Which was our comprehensive plan supports affordable housing. Okay, let me just read back what I got.
Supports affordable housing without the quotation, John.
Okay. Okay. Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a severe lack of housing. Our comprehensive plan supports affordable housing. A more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed with a particular focus on the low income workforce, entry level, family, and senior housing. I'm sorry, that it needs a little tweak in there, but that's basically what it said. Are we getting close to what people want?
I think so. And maybe in the first sentence, Mayor, Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a lack of low income housing instead of affordable, because I think Shada's making a good point here. Because we can't use low income and affordable too many times. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
have to
right, yeah.
change our language around a little bit, but I think we're getting there, and hopefully the blocks are hanging in there with us.
Yeah, right. Okay, so now, okay, Manitou Springs is a historic mountain town that currently suffers from a severe lack of low-income housing. Okay,
I gotta say, I just prefer affordable, even if we use it multiple times. It's something of a term of art, is my understanding. And I think low income implies something different from affordable.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
okay, so,
Let's change it back.
okay. Okay, affordable housing. Our comprehensive plan supports affordable housing. It's kind of, it's a little superfluous, but I could live with it. A more diverse range of affordable rental options is needed, with a particular focus on low income, workforce, entry level, family, and senior housing. Will that suffice for a first paragraph?
Yep. Think you did a good job, John.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so so I think what's shaping up here is we would take the draft as provided by the blocks. We would change the first paragraph for our remarks here, and we replace the fourth paragraph, and then we have a letter. Is that what we're kind of looking at? I think that's council's. Okay, I guess I would look for a motion to do that, and then we'll ask the blocks for comment.
I move to approve the letter of support for affordable housing for Paragon Development.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. And the understanding is that is with those amendments clearly.
Wait.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so some discussion here, and I guess I'd ask, give the blocks an opportunity to respond. What do you guys think?
I'll comment from my side, which is I think Councilor Chandler had a good idea just to really come out strong in the opening paragraph. I like that. Beyond that, I appreciate the consideration that you all are giving, and I think the expression of support is probably most important. I think Councilor Johnson said it. I really don't know exactly how they'll read these letters and things, but I think there'll likely be some dialogue with you all, and I'm sure if you can express yourself in the same way, that would be important. So thank you again, and really thank you for making time on short notice.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Any further comment, council? Okay, if not, we'll do a voice vote, and I'd ask those of you who are on screen to raise your hands. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye. I'm raising my hand.
John and Nancy, just to be clear?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a 5-0 vote, unanimous vote. So we will go ahead and provide that letter to the blocks tomorrow morning with those amendments. Okay, I think that covers our business. Does anybody have anything you need to say about this? Okay, I guess not.
Sorry. One comment, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I think you said this, but yeah, you can send the signed PDF to us directly, and we'll submit that as part of the application. But I just wanted to clarify that it doesn't get sent to Chaffa directly.
Okay, right. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was okay. Well, good point. All right, very good. In that case, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all making a point to get to this special meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank
Nancy,
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
hope go enjoy your
Good
dessert.
luck on the grant.
Yeah.
Excited for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good luck.